doing a few things very fast. Okay, such that we can
Okay.
jump to a proper web page designing kind of a thing. Introduction. So first of all, we can say that JavaScript, it is a verb. It is a verb of the web page. Is the verb of the web page defines that defines all the actions to be performed on a to be performed on the okay. Next point is it is it's an object oriented programming language. Object programming language. It's an object oriented programming language that uses that uses JIT compile. JIT, that uses JIT compiler, and it is everywhere. It is everywhere. Everywhere, and all the web browsers are installed with. It is everywhere, and all the web browsers, all the web browsers, browsers are installed installed with it. Installed. So, Uday, you understand what do you mean by browser, right? Any
Uh,
what do you mean by browser?
just I'm not sure how to define it as something.
Basically, what you
Like
understand if someone asks you what do you mean by a browser?
it's not an app. It's something that you can.
The browser is basically where your web page executes, right? From the browser, you can request for a page, and it receives the information from the server. And after receiving the information after receiving the HTML code, your browser is going to show the output of that HTML code, right? But browser has more features, right? Because
Right.
browser contains browser contains JavaScript language also, right? It contains a JIT compiler, JIT. JIT is basically just in time compiler. Just in time means whenever you need it, it will work for you. So that is why it is called JIT compiler. Fine. So browser is basically, you can say that it is a software which help us to browse web pages, right? Where you can view your web pages, and it executes the HTML, which is which may contain many kind of scripts, right? Maybe contain CSS, maybe contain JavaScript, right? Sometimes it contains Python script and VB script also, right? That will be executed by the browser, and you can see the output of these codes on your browser. Okay, right? So next thing is JS application. JS means JavaScript, huh? JS application ranges from ranges from web development and mobile development, etc. You can develop desktop applications using JavaScript also. That is also possible. Okay. So basically, we use JavaScript mainly for web development, right? So you can think that 97% of the website which are now active, they are using JavaScript, right? And few of them are not using JavaScript. The next is the best part of JavaScript is easy. It's easy, simple, simple, and 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 very much compatible and very much compatible with HTML and CSS. HTML. Okay. And what I will say that it is it is must to have skill for any software engineer role, any software engineer role. Yeah, right. So whenever you see any advertisement, and you will find that they want JavaScript. They want to know that if you know JavaScript, it will be an plus point in your CV, right, or in your resume. So whenever you apply for a company or whenever you see an advertisement, they have written that JS is required, right? And now in the market, you will find there are many libraries are available on JS.
He did.
The first one is Angular, then we have Node.js, then we have uh, Angular, Node.js, then we have React from Facebook, right? So React is now very much famous because it is used for both the client side as well as server side. You can do the programming for both client side and as well as server, right? So this is a
Yeah.
basic introduction of JavaScript. Okay. So now we talk about JIT compiler, right? So let's
Okay.
talk about JIT compiler. What is JIT
JIT
compiler?
compiler? What does it stand for?
JIT is just-in-time compiler.
Okay.
It is basically just time, just-in-time time. Okay. Let me create this as a heading. This one. Then, yeah, got it. So JIT compiler is like this. Let me draw the diagram. How it works. First is parser. Parser. Then we have AST. Then we have interpreter. Interpreter. And interpreter will generate bytecode. Because the bytecode is basically machine independent code. So interpreter generates that. And then we have profiler. Profiler. And profiler will pass it to compiler. Compiler. And compiler will generate optimized code. This whole thing, this whole thing, this whole concept is called, this whole concept is called JIT. Okay, this whole concept is called JIT. So now we have parser, right? So what is the job of a parser? Can you guess?
Parsers to collect all the information.
Uh, yeah, it collect all the information. And what is the job?
To show it in a way that befits the commands or instructions.
Right. Uh, Somewhat you are correct, but the job of the parser is it divides the code into token. What it does? It divides. It divides. Use the color here. It divides. It divides the code. The code into tokens. Into tokens. It divides the code into tokens. Right. And what do you mean by tokens? What is tokens? You have studied in Java. Tokens, literals. No?
Tokens. I don't
Yeah.
know.
The tokens is the smallest individual unit in the program. Like you have declared a variable. Now, so to declare a variable, say for example, you have written int x. So int is one token, x is another token. Then you have given comma. Then you have written y. Remember these things. So all these things are called tokens, right? Tokens are the meaningful unit in the Java program. It may consist of keywords, it may consist of literals. So parser divides the code into tokens, right? What are the keywords? What what are the literals, right? So this division is done by the parser, right? After parsing, right, it creates a tree. It creates a tree, right? This is called abstract. This is called abstract. This is called abstract syntax tree. This is called abstract syntax. Okay. So so with the help of this tree, it will check the syntax of your code, right? After dividing it into tokens, it will create a abstract syntax tree, right? So it will check the code by creating this tree. Okay. You have idea about binary tree?
Yeah, I remember doing
Yeah,
those.
that kind of a structure, right? It will create the abstract syntax tree because these are the internal parts, so you don't have to worry about it. It will does these things automatically, but you need to understand ki what are these parts only, right? From the top level, you don't have to go inside. Okay. So then if this is fine, then interpreter then the code will go to the interpreter, right? Then what interpreter does, it will create the profile of the code with the help of the profiler, right? Whether it will generate the bytecode, or if your code is, say for example, your code is very much complex and very much big because it is containing too much or too many components, right? Then it will send the code to the compiler for the optimization, right? and after optimizing the code, it will get executed. The whole thing gets executed. So this is the basic idea about just-in-time compiler. Just-in-time compiler uses interpreter as well as it is using compiler. So, so it will take one decision with the help of the profiler, right? Whether to go with the interpreter, it will solve the problem using interpreter, or it will use the compile. Got my point? So the next thing is, so let me talk about the history of JavaScript. History of JavaScript. So JavaScript is founded by, or it is developed by, JavaScript is developed by Brendan Eich. Eich. In the year, year 1995. In the year 1995. Okay, and he also developed. He also developed JS engine, JavaScript engine, JS engine, JS engine. There is something called Spider Monkey. Spider Monkey is also one. You can say that the JavaScript interpreter or compiler. So Spider Monkey, right, which is still used by, which is still used by, the company name is Mozilla, which is used by Mozilla Firefox. I believe that the Mozilla Firefox is the best browser available currently, not the Google Chrome, because Google Chrome eats loads of resources, right? So it is better to use Mozilla Firefox. But anyhow, we are using Google Chrome. So Mozilla Firefox is a better browser than Google Chrome, right? And Google Chrome uses something called V8 engine, right? Okay, Google Chrome uses something called V8 engine. Chrome uses V8 engine. Okay. V8 engine is developed by Google engineers, right? The next is, there is something called ECMA, ECMA, E-C, E-C-M-A. Have you heard about this? So ECMA stands for,
No.
so just like ASCII, now we have, ASCII Unicode. There is something called
Yeah.
ECMA, right? So ECMA stands for European Computer Manufacturers Association. Manufacturers Association. Right? That is called ECMA. And what it does, right? So let's talk about that. So ECMA, it maintains the standard or standardization. It maintains the standardization of JavaScript. Standardization standardization of JavaScript. Of Okay. So this is the language which is not from America, right? It is from Europe, and the Brandon Eich is most probably from Netherlands. Okay. So
Okay.
basically, it is maintained by this European Computer Manufacturers Association, and any modification or update. So any modification. This is an open source software, right? So any modification or update is drafted, is drafted and sent to the committee and sent to the committee, sent to the committee, and they do the discussion. They do the discussion. They do the discussion and decide whether whether to include it or not. Whether to include it or not. If passed, if passed, if passed, then it is added. Then it is added as the new update, new update in the latest released version. In the in the latest released version. Released version. So the latest version is European Standard 2020 released in June of June of 2020. Okay. So this is the history of and the introduction of JavaScript language. Okay. So now we come to the next point. So this is the information which you have to keep it in your head. If someone asks you to, what do you know about JavaScript, right? So next thing is a JavaScript code. JavaScript. So, so there are different ways we can write down the JavaScript code, right? So um, JavaScript, JavaScript basically it gets merged. It gets merged into HTML, which is the skeleton of web page, which is the which is the skeleton, which is the skeleton, skeleton, skeleton of web page, which is the skeleton of web page. Right. So we can write JavaScript in three ways. We can write JavaScript in three ways. In three ways. So the first is on the console, right? Then we write it in the script tag, okay, and we write it in external external JavaScript file. Right? Use the third method in our life, but I will show you all. Okay. So what you have to do here, you go to your browser. So I'm going to my browser, and what I will do here, I will press, you remember this, I have to press Control, Shift and I. What you can do, you can press Control, Shift and I. When you press Control, Shift and I, what will happen? Okay, it will open the console, right? So this is the console. This is the console, right? You click on the console. So you click on the console, you will get the console. This is the console, right? And you can go to the console by right clicking on, and you click on inspect, right? You can click on inspect and you can get to the console. Okay, so now you are in the console. So let me show you one command here. So if you write here console dot, right, there is a command called log, right? So console dot log, and I'm writing here hello world, right? This is my first Java script code. Hello, it will show you the output. You give a semicolon here and press enter. So now you can see that it is showing that hello world, right? Don't worry about this is undefined or something. Don't worry about this thing. I will come to it. Now you can see that hello world is in the output. So console, in the console we can give commands, right? We can give commands. Okay. So console.log is used to print the output. Console.log is used to print the output. Okay. So let me write it. Let me write down here. Uh, so, so press CTRL plus shift plus I. Okay. To to open the console. So or you can or you can right click. You can right click and then go to inspect, and then go to inspect and click on console, and click on console. Okay. So now your console is open, so you can write down your code. So here we have written one code. So console dot console dot log, log is used to is used to print output. So this is the one way I have shown you, right? So now there is the next way. The next way is by using the script tag. Okay. So for that, what you have to do, let me do it here. Minimize this. Uh, okay. So what I'm doing it, I'm just right clicking on it and I'm opening one notepad file. So currently I don't have any editor software in my computer. All right. You can use Visual Studio Code as an editor, or you can use Sublime Text as an editor where you can write down your file. So let me do one thing. Let me install Visual Studio Code for. Let me install Visual Studio Code in this computer. Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code. I personally prefer it as a better editor.
I used Visual Studio before.
Yeah. Visual Studio. There is two software. One is called Visual Studio, and another one is called Visual Studio Code. Right. So um, I want to use Visual Studio Code to teach you. So that is why I'm installing it. Okay. There is another software is also available that is called Sublime Text. Sublime Text. This is also a text editor, right? But they have two versions. One is the free version, and one is the I think one is the paid version. So this is mostly used in USA for development of this web page or something, some programs like this. You can write any computer programs over here, and you can basically you can this text editor now automatically learns the way uh, you develop your code, right? So and it is very much customizable also. So here there are options. You can download it or you can buy it, right? So so, so it will give you a 30 days trial because it is the basically a paid version. There are two versions. You can because if you're not going to pay, it will show you you are using the unregistered version, right? And if you buy it, it will show you you are using the registered version, right? So this is what Sublime text is there, right? But I personally prefer Visual Studio Code because I'm comfortable in that. Okay, so Visual Studio Code. So I'm going to install it in my computer because I'm teaching JavaScript after 10-12 years.
Oh,
Let's install this. So what I will do here, I will create one folder in my D drive. So I'm writing here JS project. So let me create a folder here called mm, so let me create a folder here JS project. JS JS project. Okay. This folder is created. So my JS project is created. Right. Let me close all this. So I will do here, I close all these and I go to my D drive, right? So I have the project called JS project. So this is my JS project, okay? And let me press F5 here, refresh. So this is my JS project, and when you right click on it, and you will get one option called Open with. mm, Open with the option. Just a minute. Let me refresh it. JS project. Okay, what we can do here, we open the VS code here. I don't know why it is not giving the option. Generally, it gives option. I have to do some settings. Okay. So let me close this folder from here. Okay. So what I will do here, okay, open editor, and here this option is uh, to add folder file, and we try to open a workspace, right? So you click on open workspace, okay, and you uh, go to JS, go to J and JS project, and you click on it's not opening file new. Okay, you click on open folder. Okay, don't have to click the open. Then you type J and you click on JS project. Right. So we have opened this folder. Now what we do here? Now here we add the. Now what we do here? We add a file here. So I'm writing a file name here. This is first first dot html. Okay, so I have written this, and now you can see that this is appeared. So now if I write here, let me see. If I write here html, it works. So now it has given me the structure, right? So here in the title part, what I'm going to do here, instead of writing document, I'm writing here. Say I'm writing here. Say home. I've written here. Okay, and and we have the body here. So in the body part, I'm writing here. Say h1, h1. So h1, and I have to write here my first, my first JavaScript code. Right? This is what I have written in the head. Okay. So after the head, what I will do, I will write here script. Right. This is the script tag. Slash script. Script. Okay. So in the script tag, what I will do, I will just write. I will just write here console. Console. You can see that console is coming up here. So let's select that console dot log. Okay. Console dot log, and inside the log, I'm writing just hello, hello world. Okay. So I've written this and hello world, and then I'll give a semicolon, and I will save this file. Okay. So now just a minute. So let's save this. So I have saved this, right, and my this part is open in the JS project, right. You can see that first.html is there. Now what I will do, I will open this file. Okay. Now you can see that this is my first JS code, right? But where is hello world? So hello world is in the console. So what you have to do, you have to press Control Shift I, right, to see the console. Okay. So now in the console part, you can see that hello world is printed, right? And it is the line number is 12. You can see the line number is 12, right? So now you go to the JS code and you can see that line number 12 has given the output. There, hello world, right? So generally, what we do now, we instead of writing this, we something write like this console dot log, and then we write here connected. Okay, so we write this, and generally console is used for connected, not connected. This kind of messages is written in the console part. Okay, you give semicolon and save it. Okay, you go to the browser, you refresh the browser, all right. You refresh the browser. Now you can see both the output, hello world and the connected, right. So this is how we can use the console, right. And this is how you write down your code using HTML. And in that code, you include your JavaScript code. Okay. So this is how it is written. Let me save this. Let me save this in the OneNote file. I hope you understood the process, Uday. This is the
Kind of.
this is using the script tag, right? This is using the script tag.
Script tag.
This is I have not written the heading here. This is using using script tag. Script tag. Console though I have oh just a minute. This is console. This one is using console. Using console and this one is using console and then we have script tag. This is how we can include our JavaScript inside the HTML. Okay, so this is the code. Okay, this is using script tag. So inside the script tag, we have included our JavaScript code. But this is not the best way to, this is not an efficient way to include the JavaScript code inside HTML. All right. So what we do, we write down the write down our JavaScript code in an external file, right? Such that we can include that code in multiple HTML files, right? Say for example, the same property. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, Uday, I have a load shedding, so suddenly that connection is interrupted.
Hmm.
Now, actually, I'm connected with my hotspot. So, what I'm saying that you need to implement your JavaScript in an external file, right? So that is the best way, best option, or the best way of uh, writing JavaScript. And this is what we are going to do. We always write down one external file and we include the external file in our HTML code to solve the problem. Okay, or to set the properties of the HTML elements. Fine. So we write down a topic here. Right. We write here external JS file. JS. Okay. External JS file. So JS code. JS code is written. JS code is written in a separate file. In a separate separate and is incorporated and is incorporated in the incorporated in the HTML in the HTML using script tag using script tag. Okay, and this is the most efficient way. This is the most efficient way. Efficient way. This is the most efficient. It also it also enforces reusability. reusability, B-I-L-I-T-Y, reusability, and keep reusability and use B-I-L-I-T-Y, and keeps the code short, right? Simple, simple and easy to understand, and easy to understand. Understand, right? So let me write it down. This code. So we go to this Visual Studio Code, and now we are going to create a JavaScript file. So let me create a file here. So I'm going to write here. The name of the file is. So I'm writing it in the same folder, but it is not a good idea to write down the file in the same folder. So what we can do here, we can create a folder here, and I'm sorry, I've not clicked on the right part. So let me create a folder here. Let me create a folder. So name of the folder is JavaScript. JavaScript. Right? JavaScript. And inside the JavaScript, right, we are going to create a JavaScript file. So I'm writing the name of this JavaScript file as home.js. .js. So this is a JavaScript file. Okay. So now I'm going to write down the JavaScript file. So in the JavaScript file, I'm just going to write one line only. Console dot log, console dot log, and I'm writing here hello world. Hello, hello world. Okay. So I've written here hello world. Hello world. And let me save this file. Okay. So I've written this file. Now I go back to my HTML, right? And here inside the script tag, what I will do here I will write, let me do one thing, hello world from JavaScript, from JS file. Okay, so that you can understand if, which code is executing from which part, right? So I'm going there, and I'm going to write here, I will write here script space, and if I write here type, py type, and the type is text slash JavaScript, Java script, right? So text slash JavaScript means that I'm saying to the HTML that I'm going to use the JavaScript code, right? So now what I have to do, I have to provide the source from where JavaScript code will come, right? So I will write here src, right? src equal to, and then I will write it down, right? So I have the JavaScript file. So I will select this JavaScript slash, and it's giving me the home.js. So it's giving me home.js. So I've written it, okay, and that's it. So I've included the external JavaScript file, okay. So let me go there in my browser, and let me refresh this, okay. Let me refresh this, and now you can see hello world from JS file. Hello world from JS file. Okay. So it has executed the JavaScript file. Okay. So now in this case, it will not execute these things. It will not execute this. Okay. So what I have to do, okay, yeah, I can use this, and this is called self-closing. If you use the slash, it means you are writing a self-closing tag. Okay. A space here. better option to use slash script. Script slash. So you save it, and let's go there, and we. Uh, so now you can see that a hello world from JavaScript file. So it is working fine from the file. It is taking the information, right? So this is how we can create our project. We keep our JavaScript in a separate folder. We keep our CSS in the separate folder. We keep our HTML in a separate folder, right? And we just create the index file in the main folder, right? This is how we can develop the website project. Okay, fine. So slowly you will learn how these things are going on. So let me include this code into the second external JS file. So this is the code, and this is the JS file. So let me write it. So this is your JS file. We include it here. So this is called home.js, right? We write it here home.js, home.js. This is the content of home.js file, right? It contains only one line because I just want to show you the as a demo. Okay. So the next part. So let's talk about quickly with the, because we have started the programming, so we have to know the what do you mean by comments? Okay, comments. Comments are important thing in every programming language. Okay, and here the comments are also very much simple, right? So you can say that comments are comments are extra information. Extra information. Comments are extra information that that helps in understanding in understanding understanding of code, and is not passed and is not passed onto the onto compiler at compilation. Compile. So in JavaScript, in JavaScript, in JavaScript, there are two types of two types of okay. So the first one is this is a single line comment, single line comment. Single line comment is double slash, right? So single line comment is like this, or single line comment is like this. So this is a single line comment. Okay, this is a single line comment. Then you have a multi-line comment, multi-line, multi-line comment. So multi-line comment is like this. So then you have some lines, and then you have slash, star slash. Okay, and you have some lines over here. Then you have some lines over here. Okay, and you have lines over here. Right. So these two are the comments. Right. So it's very much similar to Java. So I'm not going deep into it. So let's move to another thing called, there is something called JavaScript properties, JS properties. It's called JS properties. JavaScript properties is JavaScript is dynamically dynamically typed. JavaScript is dynamically typed. Doesn't specify. Is doesn't it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to specify or has to specify. Doesn't have to specify the type of the variable. The type of the variable. Don't have to define a variable as int, float, double, right? You just have to write var or let. You have to just write var or let to define the variable, right? So there is no need. There is no need to define data type for variable variable for variable like int comma float etc. Only let variable and const is used for variable used for variable variable declaration is used for variable declaration. Okay, and next property is JavaScript is weakly typed. That is, type correction is allowed in JavaScript. Type correction 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 corrections is allowed in JavaScript. Okay, so when when we are comparing we are comparing when we are comparing two values of different data type of different of different data type the one type the one type right the one type will force will force the other to change its type to other to other to change its type its type as well as type as well at so that comparison can be made possible. Comparison can be made possible. Comparison can be made possible. So the two. So we have one operator to stop query coin, all right, or correction. Okay. So triple equal to operator is used to stop correction. correction. To use to stop correction. Okay. So this is the properties of JS. So now we come to talk about something called variables. Okay. So let's talk about variables. Uh, variables. So variables is a name of a memory location, right? Variable is the name of a memory location. So this is what we have studied earlier also in when we are learning Java, or when you have studied your first programming language. What is your first programming language, Uday?
My first programming language, I guess Java.
Okay, your first programming language is Java. So same conception over here. So variable is the name for memory location where data is stored, right? Where data is stored. Location where data is stored, right? Just a minute. Let me shift my computer to. Yeah, it is shifted. Uh, So variable. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, then my voice is clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's very much similar, and it's a memory location where data is stored. So syntax is also very much easy in JavaScript. Uh, JavaScript is a very simple language. Okay? Syntax is very much simple. You just write down var. Var is a keyword, right? And then your variable name, right? So var name, so whatever var name, and equal to value. VA, right? So in JavaScript, in JavaScript, the variable is defined in JavaScript. The variable is defined defined. The variable is defined using var keyword. Using var keyword. var keyword. Using var keyword. Need to make it this bold. So var keyword. Fine. So let's define var name. Var name is equal to say Uday. So I have written your name. Okay. So we can define roll number also. So we write here var roll number is equal to, say I've written here 10. So roll number is 10. Fine. So variable name should begin. So these are the naming convention of the variable. So variable name begin should begin with letter with letter It will begin with a letter. Here now in JavaScript, variable name can begin with dollar sign also, dollar or an underscore or an underscore also. Underscore is this symbol is called underscore, right? So first character can be then followed by any combination of letters or digit, right? So first character can be then followed by any combination by any combination of letters of letters of or digits or digits. Okay, and a variable name cannot be same as any keyword. A variable name cannot be same as any keywords any keywords words as they are they are reserved for reserved for special purposes. Okay, variable names are case sensitive. Variable names are case sensitive. Are case sensitive. Right. You have to remember in your head. Okay, very simple thing. Okay. So now uh, we directly jump to conditional statements or if else. So we write here conditional conditional statement statement that is if else if that is if else. Okay. And we write a few points. Here we write it down. Consists of consist consist of consist of two keywords. Two keywords. Consist of two. If and else and else. Right. So these used when there are there are two paths possible. Two paths possible. Okay? Depending upon depending upon depending upon a condition depending upon a condition depending upon a right. So if condition if condition manipulates to true if condition manipulates manipulate manipulates to true to true then it executes it executes first course of action course of action. Let's true, then it executes the first course of action. Otherwise, otherwise, another course of action. Another course of action of action will execute. And can be there can be multiple multiple if else if else there are if there are multiple paths of multiple paths path of multiple path of action to be executed. Okay, so let me write down the syntax of it. It's very simple. So the syntax is pretty simple. If, and then you write down the condition, and then you put a curly brace there. Okay, then write down your action here. Then we close the curly brace. And then we again write here else if, and then we can put here a condition. Put here a condition, and it can be nested. It can be nested also. Okay, and we have okay. So we can. I'll show you one example also how it works. So go here, and so let me remove, or we can keep it here also, not a problem. So let me create a variable here, var. Okay, and we write here a is equal to 5, and I'll write here b is equal to 6. Okay, then you write if uh, if a plus b is less than 11, then you write it down here, console dot log, and here you put less than 11, less than 11. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I pressed the wrong button. So this is it, and then again I'm writing here else if a plus b b is greater than a plus b is greater than 11. Okay, then I will write it down here, console dot log, and inside that I will write it down more than 11, more than, okay, more than 11, and else write it down, console dot log, and inside that I will write it down uh, equal to 11, equal to. So this is the thing, and let's save this. Okay, and we go to the Chrome, and what we can do here, we refresh this. Okay, we click on the refresh button, and now you can see that it is showing you the output equal to 11, right? Because the value of a is 5 and the value of b is 6. So this condition is false, this condition is as well as false, and this is true. So it is showing that it is equal to 11. We can take this example, and we can put this example in our notes. So you keep this example over here so that you can easily understand. Okay, so this is about if else, right? So there is another elegant way to replace multiple else if, right? That way is called switch case, right? So, so heading switch case, switch case. So we write it here, switch case. So it is an elegant. It is elegant, an elegant way to replace way to replace. There's an elegant way to replace multiple. There is an elegant way to replace multiple else if. Right. The syntax is very much simple. Syntax is very much simple. It is just like a Java syntax. You have to just write down switch. Here you will put expression. You write down your case. You write down your case value, right? Colon, and after that, after writing your case value, you can put your statement, right? So you write here state and statement, or statements, okay, semicolon, and after the statement you have to write down the break, okay. You can write down n number of cases like this, okay. And then after that we can write down the default, okay. And here we write down the statements, okay. So this is a basic syntax, and I hope you understand this syntax because it is very much similar to Java, okay. So here, depending upon the answer, right? Here, depending upon depending upon depending upon the answer, depending upon the answer evaluated evaluated by the condition by the condition by the condition, case code gets executed. Case code gets executed. Right. This is a similar concept in Java. Right. So every case must be followed. Must be must be followed by break by break unless it is required unless it is required, not as per logic as per logic, okay. otherwise otherwise all cases will start from executing from the matched case till either break is encountered either break is encountered or all cases gets exhausted. Cases all cases gets exhausted, okay. So default sorry default is optional. Default is optional. Default is optional and holds and hold and holds the code which should be executed which should be read should be executed if no cases gets matched. Right here, um, value here value can be right. I'm talking about this value. Right? I'm talking about this value. Okay. So value can be so what kind of value it supports. Right? Value can be integer, integer, character, character, or string. String. Okay, in JavaScript. This is the rule behind this. Okay, so let me show you one example for this also. So we go to here in our JavaScript file and we write down here. So for example, variable day is equal to, say I've written here Sunday. Okay, and I'm writing here W H, and here I have to write day. Okay, now I'm going to write here case, writing here Monday, and I'm writing here console dot log, and I'm writing here log. Today is Monday. Today is Monday. Right. Today is Monday. Is Monday. Okay. Let's put a break here. Break here. So now what I will do here, I will copy this case and I will paste it for the 7 times. Monday, Tuesday, then we have पढ़ा रहे रिकॉर्डिंग चल रहा है तो Wednesday, and we have Thursday, and then we have Friday, F-R-Y, no F-R-I, Friday, sorry, is writing F-R-Y, Saturday, and then I need another one. So that will be Sunday. That is, yeah. So we start from editing from here. So let me write here Sunday. And it will be just a minute. No, it is fine. So here we have Sunday. Let's start with here. So Tuesday, right here, Wednesday, Wednesday. Then we write it here, Thursday. Then, oh, there is something extra. Friday, uh, Friday. One is extra. I missed out something. Monday, Tuesday. Here I missed it out. Tuesday, Wednesday. This will be Thursday. Thursday. This will be Friday. This will be Saturday. So let's remove this everything. This. So this is Saturday. Saturday, and this is Sunday. So let me write down the default one. Def default, and we write here whole dot log, and we sorry, whole dot log. We write here uh, wrong wrong day name selected, day name ECTD selected. Let's save it, and we go to our Chrome, and we refresh this, right? We refresh this. So now you can see that it is showing the output today is Sunday, right? And it is true because my Sunday is started and you are on Saturday. Now there. Okay. So there we do this much, right? And you revise the notes, right?
Okay.
Next day I will be starting with the loops.
Okay.
I try to cover as much as possible so that we can directly jump to the object-oriented programming in JavaScript. So I'm writing the example over here. This is the So this is the example code. Right? I will be sending you the OneNote file in few minutes. Okay. So then bye, and I will see you on Thursday. So you revise the notes, okay, and I will send you few homework program which you will write it on the JavaScript, and you install Visual Studio Code in your laptop also. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And you revise HTML also. Right.
Okay, just one thing. I got a big test coming up this week, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to do all the homework.
Okay, no problem. No problem. You just revise the HTML elements, and you try to read this document. Okay.
Okay.
So when is the test?
It's on Friday.
Okay, it's on Friday. So I think next week also we do the class on Saturday. So it will be better for you.
Okay.
Okay. So instead of Thursday, we will be doing the class on Saturday. Same time, huh? Today's time.
Sure.
Okay. So then bye. All the best.
Thank you. Bye.